I'm a nurse, so if you ever spent much time around nurse, you'd learn that there's nothing that nurses don't talk about. Life's so short, isn't it? Life's so precious, isn't it? The answer to that is yes. Life is precious. Make the most of it. Don't waste it. So if you have low self-esteem, maybe you don't believe life is so precious. Self-worth problem, self-esteem problem. Is it the same thing? Pretty much, Self-worth, self-esteem, the way you look at yourself, how you feel about yourself, it's all the same. You've got to change your life. And I'm talking about changing it for the better. I'm talking about changing it so that it lasts. The changes last forever. And they stick with you. And they change your life. They make you a different person. They make you happy to be alive. Guess what's happening? Your self-worth is growing. You're growing from the inside. Understand this. Your self-worth comes from you. It's not what other people think about you. It's not what your parents told you about yourself. It's what you believe to be true about yourself. And who knows you better than you? Even your parents, can't know what's going on in your head as much as you do. What you believe, what you feel, what's important to you. You know more than anybody what's going on in your brain, what makes you tick. So that's what it boils down to. Your self-worth is your thoughts and feelings and opinions about yourself. What's important to you? What means, in your opinion, what means the most in life? And it's not because of what you've done and what you've accomplished. Understand that, Self-worth comes from just being alive. Look at a child. We don't look at a child and say, well, shit, they haven't done anything. I'm talking about like a small child. They haven't done anything. They haven't helped me clean the house. They haven't gotten an education. They haven't earned $1. They haven't done anything. So they're not worth much. We don't say that. We look at a child and we're like, yeah, they're a beautiful human being. They're so adorable. I'm so glad that they're a part of my family. I'm so glad that they're here. They're alive. Just because they're here, They're born and we love them. That is when things are the way they're supposed to be. I know a lot of you come from families that, children aren't looked at that way. With a low self-worth or with no self-worth, you're going to struggle. You're going to struggle in everything you do. Relationships, friendships, work, your career, your education, maybe being a parent, So again, I touched on this maybe earlier, but I want to reiterate. Many people are getting their self-worth from the wrong people or in the wrong ways. Did you get your self-worth from your parents? Did you have great parents? So many of us don't. I grew up without a father, and my mom wasn't too sharp. Not her fault, Is it a child with Down syndrome's fault that they're not more intelligent? No, they were born that way. It's a mental deficiency, it's a handicap, so it's not their fault. Mental retardation. I had a patient about a month ago, and I've seen him before in the ICU. He has kidney failure, and he's like 44 years old, I think, maybe 46, but he's like a child. He's 44, 46 years old, and he's like a child. Literally, he speaks like a child, he behaves like a child, and his parents treat him like a child at 45 years old, somewhat. And I was, in the intensive care room with him for about 4 hours this day, and I got to spend a lot of time with him. And it's kind of sad. because he spent his whole life in that state. And really, what was more sad was what it had done to his parents. So typically, oftentimes, ideally, your parents are, I don't know, maybe like 25 years older than you. So if he was 45 or so, his parents were, in their 70s, maybe 70, 75, something like that. So let's say they acquired him when, they were 25 or 30. That's kind of typical. Not too young, not too old to become parents. So we'll say they were 70, 75 years old. They look like hell. I mean, not because of the way they were dressed or anything, but their bodies. They look like they were tired. Their bodies looked like they were given out. They looked like they were in poor shape. They looked like they were hurting, struggling, tired, They didn't look like they were living their best lives. Why? Because they've spent the last 45 years taking care of this big baby that just will not grow up. Is it his fault? Hell no, it's not his fault. He was born mentally retarded. It's not his fault. But that means that he's never going to be able to care for himself. He's never going to be able to thrive the way most people can thrive. So he's always going to need somebody to care for him. So what happens? Because the parents are like 75 years old and already look like hell. So in the next 10 years, they're going to go downhill. And what's going to happen to this kid? Who's going to take care of him? It makes you wonder. I suppose he's going to become a ward of the state, which happens in so many cases. But where I'm going with this is, what kind of parents were you born with? I didn't have a father, and my mother was not mentally retarded, but she was, that way. Not very bright, and she didn't come from a family with a good upbringing. I mean, her parents weren't that hot either, so they didn't teach her good things. They definitely didn't teach her how to be a mom, a good mom, because she was not. So she didn't do a bunch of drugs, but she did drink when I was young. Drank and smoked and put her men first. And didn't teach me anything. Didn't set a good example for me. So if I were to get my self-worth from her, that's going to set me up for failure, because she never built me up. I mean, a parent's supposed to build their child up. A parent's supposed to instill in their children that they are special, they're glorious, and they're capable of anything, and I didn't get that. So she was neglectful. That was the biggest form of abuse, neglect. But she actually did strike me on occasion. So there was some physical abuse too, but I'm not going to get into that. But my point is a lot of you grew up with poor parents, or no parents, missing father, missing mother, one or the other, or both. Maybe there's some orphans out there, and I can't necessarily relate to that. I'm not an orphan. There was always some kind of family member there, but not the best family. I didn't come from the best family, the smartest family, people that had good educations and good knowledge and skills about parenting and bringing up a kid. So I made a lot of bad choices, made a lot of mistakes, wasted a lot of time. Could have been so much worse, though. Could have, got in trouble with the law and gone to jail and wasted years of my life in the prison system, which is a big racket too. But that's another video. What a beautiful day. Life's so short, isn't it? Life's so precious, isn't it? The answer to that is yes. Life is precious. Make the most of it. Don't waste it. So if you have low self-esteem, maybe you don't believe life is so precious. And the planes just keep coming. You hear it, It's coming. So what can you do about it? What if you don't know if you have low self-esteem? Try this. Try this. Take a day, 24 hours, and just make a conscious effort to be aware of your thoughts and take note of how you think about yourself, you know? If you need to write it down because that way it kind of holds you to it, you know? You can't go back later in your mind and say, no, I didn't feel this way, you know? Carry a little piece of paper or notepad with you for a day. Put it in your pocket. And every time you think something about yourself, take note of it, you know? Oh, I think this is good about me. I think this is bad about me. Or I think I'm wrong. I think I'm right. I think I'm strong. I think I'm weak. You know? I like the way I do this. I like the way I do that. I don't like this. I don't like that. You know? Write what you like and what you don't like about yourself down. Write everything that you think with regard to yourself and how you view life and what's important to you. You know, every time a thought like that comes into your mind, write it down, take note of it. And then after 24 hours, go review your notes. And you should be able to ascertain, you should be able to figure out, you know, whether or not you have a self-worth problem, self-esteem problem. Is it the same thing? Pretty much, you know. Self-worth, self-esteem, the way you look at yourself, how you feel about yourself, it's all the same. It's important. And what if you do? What if you do have low self-esteem? What do you do about it? Well, look, you've probably been struggling with it, low self-esteem, low self-worth, no self-worth, all of your life, you know? So it's like it didn't happen overnight. So, you know, things don't get fixed overnight either, you know? You got to take baby steps, but you got to have consistency. Baby steps and consistency. So, small steps every day, do a little something to improve yourself, which is going to improve your self-worth. What am I talking about? Get up in the morning, wash your face, brush your teeth, and fix your hair a little bit and say, all right, man, I feel good. It's going to be a good day. You got this. You know, that's a good thing. That's a positive thing. Exercise. I have found in the last year, a little more than a year, that exercise is so very important. I spent the majority of my adult life never exercising and actually avoiding exercise, you know. I was never a kid that was real big into sports or anything, and as an adult, I just never placed any kind of importance on exercise and really avoided it. Why? Because exercise is work, you know. It's not necessarily a lot of fun. Working out, especially in the beginning, depending on what you look like, you know, the degree of out of shape you might be, it's not going to feel good. If you're 100 pounds or more overweight and you have no cardiovascular fitness, it's not going to feel good, you know. Get your heart rate up. You're going to be huffing and puffing, struggling to breathe. Your heart rate's going to be going to 1,000,000 miles an hour, and you're going to feel stressed out. But you know what? You got to take that step, man. You got to approach it correctly. You got to make it happen. You got to do it. You got to be consistent. Now, do you have to be great right out of the chute, right in the beginning? You have to be great? No, you're not going to be great. You're going to struggle. You got to take the baby steps. So that means starting slow, you know. Don't hurt yourself. Don't overdo it. Don't put yourself into cardiac arrest because you're pushing so hard. Like I said, the problems didn't happen overnight. They're not going to be fixed overnight. It's going to take time. You know, you've got to make it part of your lifestyle. You got to make it part of your life. What an interesting tree. I like this tree. Of course, it's dead, but still interesting. Anyway, you've got to change your life. And I'm talking about changing it for the better. I'm talking about changing it that so that it lasts, the changes last forever, and they stick with you, and they change your life. They make you a different person. They make you happy to be alive. Guess what's happening? Your self-worth is growing. You're growing from the inside. I'm George of the Merce George channel, and I'm going to make videos about life and love and taking care of yourself. And largely they're going to be directed at fatherless people. I wanted to say men because I'm a man and that's my experience. But what if, what if I was a female and grew up fatherless? A lot of the circumstances are the same. My channel is for people that need encouragement and a father figure and somebody to share lessons of life with, of any age, man or woman. So bring it. And if you find any value from it, subscribe, come back and see me, hear what I have to say, and I promise not to waste your time. What else can you do? Oh, did I talk about personal hygiene yet? That's where I was going. Personal hygiene. I don't want to step on any toes. I don't want to make anybody uncomfortable or make you mad, but everybody's got their own level of personal hygiene. And so if you're a person that keeps himself very clean, is conscientious about their appearance, their nails clean and trimmed, and always brush your teeth. The goal should be 3 times a day at least. Brush your teeth 3 times a day. Do I? To be honest with you, no. Honestly, I brush my teeth twice a day. Honestly, in the morning and before bed. And should I be? Squeezing a third one in there? I probably should. But oftentimes, it's just not convenient to be brushing your teeth at work. Although if I wanted to, I could. But the point is personal hygiene. Personal hygiene is so very important for many reasons. The first, and probably, well, I don't know if it's the most important. First of all, your self-worth. You're going to place yourself at a higher self-worth if you're actually keeping yourself clean. You're going to feel better about yourself, which is going to make you feel better about your self-worth. It's going to give you a higher self-worth because you're going to have more respect for yourself. You're going to feel better. Things are just going to look brighter just because you're taking better care of yourself. The other part of personal hygiene that is going to carry over to your self-worth is you're going to have better health. You won't believe how many patients I have in the hospital that are infectious. They have a systemic infection or septic. Septic is a fancy word for there's a serious infection going on in your body and being circulated throughout your body in your blood. There is perhaps bacteria in your blood and making you sick as hell. So cleanliness is the closest thing to godliness. It's going to keep you healthy. How does keeping yourself clean keep you healthy? Because that's where disease comes from. Disease comes from filth, from nastiness, from bacteria. What? Why? Bacteria. Bacteria thrive in a dirty mouth. Bacteria thrive on dirty skin. A lot of people are not circumcised. Bacteria. Urinary tract infections because they don't keep their cooch clean. Bacteria. Their ass clean. Sores, bed sores, because they don't keep their ass clean. Bed sores lead to infection. So I'm a nurse, so if you ever spent much time around nurse, you'd learn that there's nothing that nurses don't talk about. We talk about all parts of the body, including the parts that need the most care. The mouth, the penis, the vagina, the anus. So that's why keeping yourself clean can keep you healthy, and keeping yourself healthy can improve your self-worth. So baby steps, people, little steps. Keeping yourself clean, doing something to improve yourself, exercising, and so much more. Read. Open your mind. Read a book. Learn something. Help others. Help your neighbor. help somebody do something they struggle with because they're old or sick or hurt or handicapped. You know, these are the things that are going to increase your self-worth. Making yourself better and giving back. Giving to your neighbor. This could be literally a neighbor, or this could be just somebody that you never even met before struggling out in public. You can call them your neighbor too. I feel like I've rambled on enough. Self-worth, it's everything. It can be the difference between a happy, productive life or a miserable, unproductive life. And it should be something you give yourself. You should place it upon yourself, your self-worth. You should determine your self-worth. Not anybody else, not your parents, not your boss, not your teacher. It doesn't come from your grades. It doesn't come from your bank account. It comes from you, from within. You've got to change your life. And I'm talking about changing it for the better. I'm talking about changing it so that it lasts. The changes last forever. And they stick with you. And they change your life. They make you a different person. They make you happy to be alive. Guess what's happening? Your self-worth is growing. You're growing from the inside. Hey, I love you guys. I appreciate your time and attention. I hope you get something from my words. And if so, subscribe to the Merch George channel and share it with a friend that you think might benefit from my words. I'm going to bring a lot more of this content your way, so come on back. Thanks so much. We'll catch you next time.